Hi, my name is Chris Rodriguez, and I nominated Miss Osmond. I've been a part of Goose Creek since I came down from New York in 2004, and I've had great teachers in the district. Of course, my high school years have been the best years, especially being a senior now. I have done well in my grades and have had lots of fun. But with anything in life, there's always that one thing or person that makes a huge impact in your life. Miss Osmond, hands down, will be my favorite teacher in all my years of high school and at Goose Creek. My first 2 years of high school were rough for me for personal reasons. The loss of my brother affected me and affected who I was, and I didn't expect anyone, especially a teacher, to understand what I was going through. I shut down from everyone and pretty much everything. That was until I met Miss Osmond. Miss Osmond came into my life as my English teacher my junior year. God knew what he was doing. You could walk into her class, and she is the happiest and most positive person that you would probably see on campus. You couldn't ask for better characteristics in a teacher, no matter what was going on in my life or in that day. Walking into her class always made it better. When I struggled with any schoolwork, she was always there to offer help. Even when students would talk too much, especially me, she would never yell or call us out of our name like many teachers do. Instead, she always talks to us in a calm voice and asks for the respect that she deserves, and she always got it. I was one of the lucky ones to have her as a teacher for 2 years. I am so grateful that she is my English teacher this year, my senior year. She has pushed me to strive at everything I do in life. I have been doing very well my senior year, and she has a lot to do with it. She is my reminder that there are teachers who truly care and love what they do. She is good at teaching and extremely smart. I look up to her, and I appreciate her and her support. She promised to come to at least 2 home games, but she ended up coming to almost all of them. She was cheering us on, and she doesn't know it, but it meant a lot to me. I know how short life is, and I know how hard it can be. I have the support at home, and I have the support of Ms. Osmond. What more can I ask for? Positive, happy, respectful, hardworking, caring, and honest are characteristics that describe Ms. Osmond, and she shows them every time we walk in class. Sincerely, Chris Rodriguez.
Oh, that was such a cute surprise.
Hi, I'm Brandon Galvan, and I nominated Mr. Brown for Student Choice Award. I remember the first time having Mr. Brown's class thinking to myself, wow, this guy has some really crazy hair. But also thinking, this teacher's my friend. This class has the environment of a home. I actually like this class. I stopped looking forward to lunch and study hall and started looking forward to going to my world geography class. I've never had a teacher like Mr. Brown, and I could confidently predict that I never will again. His teaching style was controversial to most of my classmates, but to me, it worked like wonders. He taught us in lectures from the beginning of class and made us write notes the whole time. In the beginning, I thought this much note writing was excessive and unnecessary, but when the test came, I never had remembered so much during a test. I realized that this lecture style was the best way for me to understand and remember material. This helped me pass the class with the most ease and engagement I've ever had. In the next years, I realized that this teaching style is used by all the professors I had at the college. He shaped me to become a more successful student and aided the culture shock of college classes. Although having the biggest impact on my education out of any teacher I've had, he has made a huge impact on my outlook on life and made me the kind of person I am today. And comparing myself to my old self, I know that that was for the better. Mr. Brown has taught me to become more confident, progressive and productive, and filled with passion for the journey of life. The stories he tells us about his life and lessons he learned comforts me with assurance that things don't work out sometimes. Things will work out in the end if you work at it. Take your time doing everything and do it right, and being educated gives you a 100% chance of succeeding in life. These are only a few things that Mr. Brown has taught me that I know I will carry with me for the rest of my life. These very different probabilities made Mr. Brown the most genuine teacher I've ever had. In conclusion, I owe my success as a student, friend, and person to Keith Brown. I know that for the rest of my life, I will look back at my teenage years and remember Mr. Brown, and remember how thankful I am for having this person educate me into the person I am today.
Hi, my name is Zial Zornituno, and it is with great pleasure that I nominate Ruben Chance for the 2017 Student Choice Awards. Mr. Chance is currently the orchestra director for Goose Creek Memorial High School. However, before, he was my orchestra teacher at Highlands Junior Middle School. For 3 consecutive years, I had his class and feel confident enough to say that I know not only the type of teacher he is, but also the type of person he naturally is, both inside and out of class. Beginning from the 6th grade, middle school seemed extremely nerve-wracking. It was a large adjustment to transition from a small, orderly elementary to a huge school with big kids and what I felt to be too much freedom. In every single one of my classes, I was the quiet kid sitting either in the very front or the very back. Mr. Chance always had a lively attitude and set the atmosphere reflecting of his persona. Mr. Chance knew the name of every single kid that walked through his doors. How? I have no idea, but it was something I really admired of him. Unfortunately, in deciding to come into the Impact program, giving up orchestra was a sacrifice I had to make. Mr. Chance moved mountains for me to be enrolled in his class, and even though I attended a different high school, it was a great struggle, but his efforts ended successful. I was so touched of all that he put into making everything work and was in his class for about 2 semesters until the struggle between balancing the class and impact were too great to bear. Orchestra was crucial to my development into the person I am today and the person I strive to be. Mr. Chance and his words of encouragement taught me to break out of my little shell and rise to my fullest potential. Sincerely, Dialzen Ortuno.
Hi, my name is Zoe Henderson, and I nominated Mr. Levi Duncan. Mr. Duncan joined the Ross S. Sterling family during my junior year. By this time in high school, I was a decent musician and the soprano section leader. I was convinced that although I wasn't the best in the whole choir, I was the best that I could be. Thankfully, Mr. Duncan wasn't convinced. Once the region process started, Mr. Duncan saw something in me that I could not see. He worked with me for hours every week and pulled out a phenomenal musician that I didn't even know existed within me. Every day after school, we were in the choir room practicing the audition pieces. He pushed me until I felt like I couldn't sing another note and then pushed me a little more. This was the first year I had ever advanced to the state level in the Texas All-State process. He gave me speech after speech about how hard work and dedication is all it took to achieve your dreams. He cried with me and for me when I found out I had made the Texas All-State Women's Choir, a major achievement in the choral world. When it came time for me to apply for scholarships, Mr. Duncan helped me tremendously and helped me fill out all of my applications. Because Mr. Duncan went out of his way to help me, I received a full-ride scholarship valued at $80,000 to Lamar University. Believe me when I say Mr. Duncan was and still is the wind beneath my wings. This year, I finally made up my mind to major in music. I spent a lot of time in the thought over this due to many factors including pay, risk, and sacrifice. Mr. Duncan is an all-around amazing teacher, but when you put a piece of music in front of him to conduct, he becomes an artist, counselor, and motivational speaker. From the pieces we've sung, I have learned about history, love, death, life, sorrow, joy, just to name a few. There are students in my choir that I have known for many years who have had a drastic change of personality due to Mr. Duncan's life motto of being positive and rubbing off positivity on them. Sincerely, Zoe Henderson.
As a teacher, these mean the most, simply because our job is not to impress other teachers, it's to try to help you improve at whatever discipline we're doing. So, this is one of the greatest honors of my life, so thank you so much, Zoe. Thank you all for always being amazing.
Hi, my name is Annalie Perez, and I nominated Ms. Clark Haney. When you have grown up in the same environment or school as a kid, the subject of change can be very frightening. It was my second grade year for my elementary, and the district just announced that they were going to be rezoning all neighborhoods attending Stephen F. Austin, and it just so happened that my house was one of the unfortunate to be relocated. I wasn't a very popular kid, and I was the one that always struggled to read in class, so whenever the teacher would call on me, I always got picked on because I would take so long to read the passage, or I would pause every few expressions to ask the teacher for the pronunciation of the word. I had so much doubt in myself that I began to hate coming to school, and I wasn't ready to be transferred to another one, where I would just continue to have the same problems and not have any assistance at all, until I was assigned to the class of the outstanding Clark Haney. Miss Haney was by far the most compassionate, caring, understanding, and patient teachers I have ever come across and probably will ever come across in my entire school career. She had the patience to listen to me read her one of my favorite quotes from a text or even a simple scene from a novel. She is no doubt one of the most important impacts of my learning education and will forever impact my studying. Later on in the future, when I would be called on during school to read a passage from a novel, I always seemed to hear her comforting words in my ears saying, "Just smile, breathe through your mistakes, and pretend you're reading to me." Hearing those words would absolutely seem to smooth my nerves and calm my racing heart. Miss Haney would forever hold a special place in my life. She's the reason I push myself every day to strive forward and believe that I can achieve great things in my future. She is the true definition of an inspiring teacher. She has opened the world of opportunities to me and has made me enjoy the nature of school and understanding that I have no need to be ashamed of needing a little more help in reading than most students. Miss Haney is the reason I am the educated student I am today. She has shaped my whole learning career and has pushed me in the best direction for my future. Sincerely, Annalie Perez.
Yeah, and you know what? I knew of two.
Hi,
I had no clue. You're so sweet. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Allison Dalcor. Looking back on all of my years of high school, only a select few of teachers stand out from all of the rest. I am now a senior in high school, which means I have been enrolled in Goose Creek for 12 years now. 12 years may not seem like a lot of time, but it does equal a lot of teachers. Teachers are here to aid, lend a hand to, assuage, and attend to all of their pupils' academic needs. While I ponder the thought, only one teacher comes to mind that is best fit for this description, Ms. Hastingshill. Ms. Hastingshill was my 11th grade history teacher at Ross S. Sterling High School. I have never been intrigued with any history class that I've taken in my past. With me not being interested in the subject, it made it seem quite difficult for a novice like myself to stay on task and learn the curriculum. Thankfully, all of this changed when I was enrolled into Ms. Hastingshill's class. Almost immediately, I noticed a change in my grades and level of interest in United States history. I was excited to go to her class every day and learn more and more. Her assignments may have been challenging at times, but on the contrary, if the assignments were easy, then I would not have obtained as much knowledge as I did. Ms. Hastingshill had a very interesting way of teaching. I enjoyed how she could take a dull subject such as history and evolve it into a fun and captivating topic. That must be the key ingredient that all of my other teachers were lacking. She knew exactly how to break down the information to where my fellow classmates and I could comprehend the subject. I was constantly intrigued, and I honestly believe that is why I excelled so much in her class. Ms. Hastingshill knew how to drill information into my head, and believe it or not, I still obtain that knowledge to this day. The term impact means to have a strong effect on someone or something. Ms. Hastingshill impacted my life in the most positive way possible. Being in her class is something I will carry throughout my life, and I am thankful to have had a teacher such as great as her, and I am honored to be able to say I was one of her students. Sincerely, Allison Dalcor.
I'm really gonna cry.
Darling. You look so good. You got all dressed up and beautiful. That's so sweet of you. That is so sweet. I didn't know I had that impact on you. You didn't come to me every day and hug me. That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Shamarai Washington. My 4th and 5th grade year was kind of a struggle for me. My 4th grade teacher, Miss Tracy Haywood, was always there for me. One day, I was sitting in Miss Dean's class, my language arts teacher, when Miss Haywood came in to talk to her. When she came in, she noticed I was having trouble with the work I was given, so she sat down next to me and helped me. When I was failing my language arts class, Miss Haywood called me down to her class. She was now teaching kindergarten and told me that the principal had asked her to talk to me and help me with my language arts. Ms. Haywood requested me to be her mentor in the 5th grade. When I mentored her class, she let me read to the kids, and while they were doing their work, she helped me with my language arts. One day, she saw me walking from the counselor's office crying, and she stopped me and asked me, was I okay? I told her, no ma'am. She sat me down, then I started to explain to her what was going on. Then she started to talk to me and give me advice about the situation. I continued to go to her class even when the mentoring was over. I really had a teacher who cared for me like she did, and I honestly couldn't have asked for a better teacher. One day, I want to care for someone other than me or my family like she cared for me. I feel like if it wasn't for Miss Tracy Haywood and my family, of course, I would probably be a wreck. She taught me a lot in the 2 years that I had her as a teacher and a mentor. I'm glad that I had someone in school that was there for me, and I hope that every kid does, because there's kids that need these teachers, and they need to make a huge impact on their lives. Tracy Haywood cared for me even when I wasn't her student, and that made a huge impact on my life. And I really want to let her know how much I appreciate her. Sincerely, Shamaria Washington.
Beautiful.
My name is Jerry Horta. My first encounter with this significant teacher was shockingly on the football field of my sophomore year when he was introduced to me as my new position coach. Instantaneously, he gave off a positive vibe that was contagious. As he was introducing himself, he stated that something that had sparked my interest, and that was only that he had 2 rules for us. One was to never lie, cheat, and always work hard, and 2 was always be respectful and you will be respected in return. At the time, I didn't believe those two simple rules would lead me to a more successful and promising future. At first, I was stubborn just because I thought he didn't know what he was talking about, and he was just another coach that didn't care about his athletes and just wanted to win. Little did I know he was motivating me, watching me make progress and grow while building a friendship with me. As time passed, he began to tell me that he was no longer going to be coaching due to his daughter being home and wanting to spend time with her, but that he'd check on my progress weekly. That's when I knew he wasn't just any other coach. He explained to me that he had a high-paying job that he loved, but he wanted to impact the lives of students in a positive way because he knows that the important things in life aren't taught in a normal classroom. He honestly changed my life for the better. His goal in life is to make this world a better place, and since I met him, he's become my role model, and countless other students would say the same. Mr. Kruger is a special teacher, and he deserves this special award and to be acknowledged by this community as someone who cares about everyone around him. Sincerely, Jerry Horta.
Hi, my name is Edwin Figueroa, and I would like to nominate Mr. Membrano, the welding instructor from the John M. Stewart Career Center, for the Student Choice Award. He is my favorite teacher because he inspires and motivates me every day, and he has the best sense of humor. He always tells me that I will be the best and will get to the top, so I tell myself every day in the mirror, I will be the best. His sense of humor is the best because he tells jokes and makes us feel comfortable. He has taught and inspired me to make me the best welder I can be. I see him as a role model and as an older brother that helps me achieve my goals. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be as advanced as I am now. That's why he's the one I choose to nominate for the Student Choice Award. For the example, this past February we went to Columbus, Texas to compete in a welding competition, and I was nervous. Mr. Membrano came to me and told me, don't be nervous, just stay calm and do your best and just don't say anything. Just let your hard work talk and show everyone how the best does it. It really helped me out. Of the 200 welders that went to compete, I got third place. I want to thank him for everything he has done for helping, inspiring, and making me achieve my goals that motivated me to keep going and to get to the top. Please consider Mr. Membrano for the GCC ISD Student Choice Award. I feel he more than deserves it. Sincerely, Edwin Figueroa.
Hi, my name is Krista Motley. Throughout life, there are only a handful of people that will have a strong influence on you that you'll carry them in your memory for the rest of your life. My dual credit teacher, Miss Larissa Newport, is one of those people. She is very caring and supportive of her students. She can tell if you are down because she pays attention to her students and gets to know their different characters in the limited time we spend in her class. If I walk into her room and she doesn't see a smile on my face, she will acknowledge it and then ask me for an explanation. The point is that she doesn't act impervious when she knows something is wrong. She takes an interest in our lives instead of just teaching a lesson and assigning an assignment. I like the fact that I can come into her classroom and be myself and not feel judged but accepted. Everyone is different, but Miss Newport will treat each person the same. She is witty and very friendly to anyone she meets. She influences everyone around her in a positive way, and when she is absent, our class is bland. She gives guidance and advice, also she listens with an open mind. At first I was unsure if I was capable of being in a dual credit class because I had never taken advanced classes and was intimidated by the students in attendance. But once I got to know Miss Newport and felt comfortable where I could express my opinion in front of every other person in the class, assimilating became easier to me. I am a very shy person, but Miss Newport helped me get out of that persona in her class. Now I'm very opinionated and assertive, and I'm not afraid to express my point of view on something. Miss Newport is a blessing and my favorite teacher that has truly and absolutely affected my life in such a positive way. I'm happy that I chose not to drop the class because if I had, I would not have had the privilege of knowing the very thoughtful, one-of-a-kind Miss Larissa Newport. Sincerely, Krista Motley.
I have a question. That's very sweet! Oh my, I can do this. Oh, that's so nice!
I'm Alejandra Gonzalez. I'm very honored to write a letter of how my kindergarten teacher, Ms. Powers, has impacted my school experience in a positive and unforgettable way. I really admired how much time and dedication Ms. Powers gave to each individual student. Either being academically or just holding a conversation with the 5-year-old, she managed to always give an adequate response. She treated every student equally and special, making it an enjoyable classroom. My first time being featured in our local newspaper was an exciting moment as a kindergarten student. It was taken during our Christmas party. We made arts and crafts, and I was having a great time with my classmates, and the pictures they took captured the moment of pure childhood happiness. I cherish that picture because it reminds me of how well Miss Powers constructed this unbreakable bond we all had. Coming home from my last day of school, and I had received a Peter Pan snow globe and a letter attached from Miss Powers. I was filled with mild astonishment from this thoughtful gift. It was really meaningful to me how a teacher would take the time to give one of her students a gift and write a letter, ensuring me that everything will be okay at my new school. In her classroom, each and every student's ideas and opinions were valued. As a student, I felt safe to express myself in her classroom. Ms. Powers created a welcoming and learning environment for everyone. She had great patience with her full classroom of kindergarten students. She gave every student her full and undivided attention when it came necessary. Every lesson we learned led us to express our own and creative form of it. There was never a dull moment in her classroom. Kindergarten teachers are the first people to introduce students to the world of education. I, for one, am still grateful to have the significant experience with a teacher I will never forget. Thank you, Ms. Powers. Sincerely, Alejandra Gonzalez.
Learned how to write a letter, and she wrote a letter about her favorite teacher.
Hi, Ms. Powers. Sorry. What is that?
Oh, I'm so honored. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Such an honor.
Dear Goose Creek Education Foundation Committee, my name is Angelica Duran. I am currently a student at the Peter Highland Center. At the beginning of my senior year, I made the decision to drop out of school. At that time, I felt I had more important things than school. I went on and started to live what they called the adult life. But a year later, I realized I had made a mistake. I wanted to proudly say that I graduated high school. That's when I enrolled in the Peter Highland Center. I had trouble not being able to keep my head up and get through all of life's situations. I met a teacher here at Peter Highland that made me feel like the smartest and brightest student ever. Despite of all my mistakes and troubles I told her about, she was still there pushing me. Never did she judge me. She never looked at me like the girl who was always in trouble and made bad decisions. She always told me to never put myself down for what I've done, to always get back up and do better this time around. She counseled me to never think less of myself and to better myself through my actions. She taught me that mistakes do not define who you are. If I walked into her classroom and seemed mad or sad, she was always the one who came up to me and asked if I was okay. If I was having troubles at home, she would constantly check up on me and see if I was okay. I write of my experience of having this wonderful person as my teacher, but I can also say that she has made a difference in other students' lives too. I myself have seen it and heard it. I would like to nominate my teacher, Janie Rivera, for the GCC ISD Students' Choice Award. She hasn't just been a teacher, but also an adult figure I could come to when I found myself lost. She cares, and I know I can count on her just as she can count on me. Sincerely, Angelica Duran.
She's such a sweetheart, and okay.
Hi, my name is Victoria Jaramillo, and I would like to nominate my freshman volleyball coach, Lauren Seipel. Coach Seipel played a very significant role in my life, as well as even to this day. She impacted my life so positively and taught my teammates and I to always have an open mind and an optimistic heart. Having had never coached volleyball and being totally new to the sport, she led Lee's freshman volleyball team to a record-breaking 14-4 season, the best our school had ever had. Coming into this position, not knowing any of our girls, she clicked with us perfectly. Although winning can seem to be everything when it comes to sports, Coach Seipel taught us otherwise. She emphasized the importance of teamwork and overcoming adversity. In doing this, every week she would sit down with the entire team and gave us team time, where we would comment on each other's achievements during the past week's game. An exercise she would do with us was come to the team with different motivational quotes, having us sit down with each other and talk about the quotes amongst each other. This helped us build a great relationship with her as well as each other and a great level of trust. Overall, I have noticed that I am a very optimistic and open-minded person due to Coach Seipel. After freshman year, Coach Seipel was transferred to a different school within the district. When my teammates and I found out about this transition, we were devastated because we would not get to see her as often as we did. Although Coach Seipel was at a different school, she continued to stay in touch. As the years have passed, she still checks in on my teammates and I to see how we are doing. I believe this is what makes her one of the greatest coaches I have ever been coached by. I will not always remember every game I played during that season, but I will forever remember the way she treated our team. Coach Seipel continuously puts her team, her students before herself, and I believe this outstanding work should be recognized. Sincerely, Victoria Jaramillo.
Hey! Hi! Oh my God! You got me crying watching this. All right. Man, thank you. I'm lucky for kids like you all the time. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Hi, my name is Sarah Hicks, and I nominated my 5th grade teacher, Miss Jennifer Wade. I would like to start by saying that looking back, I never really considered myself to be a very proactive elementary student. It just seemed as though I was going through the motions of being a Days of Volley Dolphin. At this age, our only concern in school is what was for lunch or being in front of the recess line so you could get to the swings faster than your peers. This was not the case for Miss Wade's 5th grade GATE class. It was so much more than 30 minutes of recess each day, or Fun Day Friday. It was one of the most memorable times of my life. She had the cool aunt personality that made me want to listen to everything she had to say. I was a very talkative 5th grader, and as much as I don't want to admit it, it's true. Miss Wade knew this, and I received the consequences that came along with that. It still seems that even now, when I get off task or distracted, I can hear Miss Wade's encouraging words in the back of my mind. At this time in my life, I had a very toxic group of friends who let me know that they were only friends with me because they were sorry that I was so overweight. How do you react to that? Sticks and stones were supposed to break my bones, but words were not supposed to hurt me. I cried and cried until I couldn't anymore. That conversation still haunts me today, but Miss Wade turned everything around for me. I never told her what I was told by those girls that day because I was too embarrassed. But as I was crying into my lap in the hallway, Miss Wade came over to me and put her hand on my back, and something inside of me clicked. She knew. She's a mom. Of course she knew. Maybe she didn't understand the exact situation I was going through, but she knew where the hurt was coming from. Miss Wade changed my life, and I don't know if I ever expressed to her how truly thankful I am, but I hope she knows now that I will forever be grateful for her wisdom, guidance, and love. She may not have realized that she was sowing seeds into my life, but those seeds are starting to grow, and I am so thankful. Sincerely, Sarah Hicks.
Make me cry, Miss Wade.
Group hug, everybody.
Oh my God. Oh, y'all are so. Oh my gosh. Oh, I love you. Thank you.
I'm Joseph McRae, and I'm nominating my former teacher, Michael Walters, for the Goose Creek Student Appreciation Awards. Mr. Walters was my Algebra 2 teacher my sophomore year. I'd always been terrible at math. Algebra 2 was going to be no different for me, and I dreaded walking into that class on the first day of school. When I walked into that class and had a seat, Mr. Walters introduced himself and put on an About Me slideshow telling us about his life. He told us about his military service and how he'd left law school to pursue his religion, and how he had just started his own church. I absolutely dreaded the guy and judged him by his cover. He fit the white Anglo-Saxon Protestant demographic to a T, and was as square as a wrestling arena. Soon, however, I learned that I was very, very wrong. Mr. Walters was single-handedly my most genuine teacher that I've ever had. He really does care for each and every one of his students. The math he taught us was indeed Algebra 2, but he was also applied math, like compounding interest, percent, decimals, and consumer credit. And the stuff that I had learned in Mr. Walters' class I still use every day when I manage my personal finances. I used to write questions on my warm-ups to Mr. Walters, questions about video games, science, politics, the Navy, religion, all kinds of stuff. Every week he always had answers, genuine answers. They were thought out and they weren't callous or hand-wavy. He shared his ideas on the subject and it was very refreshing. I still hated math, but I can still honestly say that I looked forward to Mr. Walters' class every day, and I wish I could have had him as a teacher more than once. I truly believe that Mr. Walters puts 100% effort into everything he does for his students.
but he is also a hardworking, caring, diligent role model that wants to impact kids' lives and make the world a better place by doing what he's good at. I strongly urge you to consider him for this award and assure you that if he wins it, that it was the right choice. Thank you.
It's good to be alive right about now. Good, 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 good to be alive right about now. Good, 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 good to be alive right about now. Hallelujah, let that bass line move down, say yeah. It's good to be alive right about now. I was dead in the water, nobody wanted me. I was old news, I went cold as cold could be. But I kept throwing on cold, trying to make that fire burn. Sometimes you gotta get scars to get what you deserve. I kept moving on, and now I'm moving up. Damn, I'm feeling blessed with all this love. I think I finally found my hallelujah. I've been waiting for this moment all my life. Now all my dreams are coming true, yeah. I've been waiting.